Well, I don't know if it's harder than the remake. It seems like, that it was more of a spiritual remake, like they kept everything intact. They didn't really soften the difficulty. The enemies don't seem to hit any harder in the original. It's really just a 2.5D remake. The graphics look different, obviously. And that's about it. It really felt like they wanted people to remember the original. So, I really feel this game is much easier, as I said, with Maria, and if you're looking just to beat this game, I don't think it's overly that challenging with Maria, especially if you use her version of the item crashes, which she has different animals instead of, the standard cross, axe, dagger weapons, and the strongest ones really can wipe out a boss easily, like the dragon one. All these, her sub-weapons, or animal helpers, whatever you want to call her, are based on creatures of Chinese mythology, and they're quite amazing. Speaking of that, this game is really all over the place when it comes to cultural references. You got a game made in Japan with Chinese year animals, and yet the opening narration is in Germany, and it takes place somewhere in Europe. Who cares? It's all cool, especially as I wanted to go a little bit on that German intro. I don't want to sound anything by this, but German is just such a cool sounding language. It literally sounds like manly, if you forgive me for that one. It's just an awesome sounding language. And I'm not trying to sound silly about this. I've taken a few German classes, and I really hope to finish someday so that I'll be able to speak it entirely. It's quite an awesome language. Fun factor: even in the remake of this game really is still for the traditional Castlevania fan, and that it's got all this standard elements, and I really feel like the additions were done more to mix things up and diversify, not necessarily attract a new audience, if you will. We'll see what the timeline has to say about this game now. 1792, Castlevania Dracula X. Called back to life by the Dark Priest's shaft, Dracula is awakened again. Richter, burdened by destiny, sets out to find and kill Dracula and save the women kidnapped from his town, including Annette, his fiancée. Richter is faced with saving all the women on top of destroying Dracula. Once inside the castle and aided by Marie Renard, he prevails over Dracula. However, shaft curse seeps into his heart, left defenseless from his battle with Dracula. That's an interesting little note in the timeline description about Shaft, and to me it really feels like a cop-out, if you will. They were just looking for a way to branch the two games, like to create some familiarity, maybe even like a sinister or underhanded attempt to get more people to buy the PSP remake or whatever. I don't know. The point is that Richter was supposedly the most powerful Belmont, so how could he succumb to such a little curse like that, especially considering how easy Shaft is. Alucard even says as such in Symphony of the Night that none could defeat him, and when Alucard says something, you listen. I'm going to show you the box art now of the PSP remake. This game was the one I actually bought the PSP for. I was able to get this on clearance at Target for $15, so it was a no-brainer for me. And I didn't actually buy a PSP till a little bit later, but of the two games I own, I'm not regretting it, and I'm definitely glad that the future looks bright for the PSP, because I think it's just as valid in competition to the DS. Remember, competition makes the video game industry stronger, not the other way around. The other thing about the game was that it seemed like an ideal project for the PSP, because it's almost like it's been accused of like doing nothing but PS2 ports or emphasizing technology, and to do a game like this where it's very old school, not only from the date but its design, it's like a harkening back. And of course they had other people in mind when they ported an enhanced version of Symphony of the Night onto this. I would talk a little bit about that now, because it is really unique to this version, but I think given all the different versions of Symphony of the Night and my expertise on them, just kidding there, I will address it more in a lengthy review on Symphony of the Night. I think it only deserves as such, being the greatest Castlevania game there is. I'll hope to see you soon for that review. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.